Circle, beginning, ending, circle, circle, beginning, ending.
Ever since I was a small child, I saw spirits of the dead, and these are my stories. It was 1989, and it was around September. Just laying down to go to sleep, and I kind of feel this weight sitting on my feet. Kind of looked up, and I saw a kind of glowing figure just sitting on the end of the bed where my feet are located. And it's a figure of a woman sitting there combing her hair. She had long gray hair. And I know it wasn't my parents. I know it wasn't my aunt that was living there. So I quickly let down, started thinking to myself, and I looked back up and she had vanished. And then once I had woke up that morning, the next morning, I basically went to my mom and dad. I said that it was a lady. And my mom automatically started saying, "Oh, you're crazy." And acting very, how could I say, blind to what was going on. And then, as I started to describe her and what she was wearing, my dad went quiet. And he goes, "How did you see her? That sounds like my mother. She died when I was 7 years old." So I kind of just tried to forget about it. Another story that I have is one where I was up late one night studying and decided to go and get something to drink in the kitchen. My sister not long had a baby, and I had a little playpen out there in the living room area. So as I was going into the kitchen, I could hear a baby playing. So I decided to go to the playpen because I'm like, my sister wouldn't leave the baby in there like that. So I decided to start to walk towards it, and I can see a transparent baby sitting in a playpen playing with this toy, and it was just one of those little toys that make noise. It plays music or something. I was just like, okay. Just turned around, grabbed my drink, and went to bed. Ran back into the room. I didn't think nothing of it. And then I went to work that morning. My mom was sitting on the sofa and when I came in from work. And I said to her, you never believe that, you know, what I saw last night. I said, there was a baby in the playpen and it wasn't a real baby. And her expression was exactly these words. Fuck off, Mark. Because it was just toys playing around in there just now. And there's no one in there. And I said, well, it is what it is. There's one house that we lived in, and this little guy used to come to my room. If the door was closed, he would open it just enough to where I could see him peeking through. Then I used to swear at him, tell him to get the fuck out, and the door would just slam. BAM! I used to get in trouble because my mom used to think that I was slamming the door for no freaking reason. And until one day, I had my sister and my brother in my room. We were sitting there playing a board game or something. And he came to the door and he opened it. And I asked my sister, I said, do you see someone at the door? She said, I think I see someone there. It was kind of like a dark shadow. I said, go and point to where you think his eyes are at. And I had marked it with a little tiny pencil mark on the door. She pointed, she goes, right here where this mark is at. This is where I thought his eyes were at. And I kind of confirmed it to myself. That was a Looney Tune. And then there's a couple other occasions with the same old man. He used to walk all over the house, and he'd go to the little walkway where you could look back from the living room and see him standing there, and then as you made eye contact with him, he'd like dart off. And my dad saw him a couple of times darting off, and he never really bothered anyone in the house. He just kept slamming doors. I used to work at a mall, North Miami Beach. I used to do security for the graveyard shift. I pretty much did it alone, and at that time, pretty much wasn't scared of anything due to spirits trying to kill me, and I'll explain that later on in the next part. There used to be some strange things. Sometimes I'd be doing my checks and I'd see clothing being moved around in the store and there's no one in there. And then one night I went to the bathroom and there was a strange sound, like someone was making us, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say, like they were using the bathroom like in the bathroom, and this is like freaking 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, there's nobody in the mall. The mall's locked. The only way in there is by me unlocking it. And I looked, and then it's like, hello? No one said anything. So like someone was breathing on the other side. I looked underneath the door to see if I could see who's under there. If there was any feet or anything. And there was no one in there whatsoever in the bathroom. And found out that a guy was shot and killed in there several years before I started working there. There was one incident where the spirits kept knocking on the security door, and one of the guys was working with me that night, and we were sitting in the office, and they came knocking. We're looking on the camera because there's cameras every freaking where in the place, and we saw it on the monitor, a shadow outside the door. So we decided to rush to the door and open the door, and nothing. We rewound the video back and saw that by the time we got to the door, it flew off. So we was like, okay. So we went and sat back down again. Banging on the door again. It flew off again. So it was kind of, maybe there's some dirt or a fly or something around the actual camera. So you went to the camera and like basically took off the shield and stuff and cleaned it, put it back up. And when we went back in the office and rewound the video, we could see it peeking around the corner, watching us as we was messing with the camera. And that kind of spooked everybody out in the mall then. And then there was a Spanish lady that used to work with me also. Me and her decided that we was going to go down to the basement and try and communicate with them. We basically started to play around with a makeshift Ouija board down there, and we communicated with a woman named Cherix. She said she was the one who controlled them down there for some reason. I'm not exactly sure. And she said that she was located in a room down there. It was, I believe, Q11 or something like that. It was like some weird number. And we never heard of this room. And we went to the mall manager and asked him where would this, room be located. And he says there's no such room. So we decided to start searching around when we were doing our rounds. And we found a stairwell that went up and then went to the side, and then it was just walled off. So we went to the director of security, and he gave us the okay to knock a hole in it to see if we can what's on the other side, because that was just baffling us. So we knocked a hole in it, and we seen a whole row of doors through this hole, and there was different like Q1, 2, 3, and we thought that was kind of strange. In there was all these down wires and stuff, so we didn't even bother going in there. So we just left that alone. Eventually I ended up leaving there anyway, so I really didn't bother with it anymore after that. I was around 18 at the time, and me and my dad was kind of bumping heads. Guess I was at that age. He wanted me out, and so I kind of moved in with my mom's friend. Just staying with her temporarily till I could find something. The first night I was there, I was laying on the couch and I was talking on the phone with someone I was dating at the time. And in the living room, you could see the kitchen through a little cutout window thing. And in the kitchen there was a dark woman standing in the kitchen. Kind of misty like. So I told my girlfriend at the time to, hang on a second, and I sat up and I looked. And the woman just faded away. So I was like, okay. And I kind of mentioned it to the girl I was talking to on the phone. And she says, maybe you're just overtired. So I said, yeah, maybe I am. So I decided to say goodnight, and I went to bed. The next day, I woke up and I went to work, and then I came home and I was doing the same thing as I was doing the night before, laying on the couch, relaxing, talking on the phone. And then this woman appeared again. And I said, ooh. So I sat up again, and this time the woman kind of went like that and up into the ceiling. I was like, hold on. I know I'm kind of tired, but I just saw this woman fly up into the freaking ceiling. And I said to my girlfriend, I'm gonna call you right back. She said, no, don't hang up. Well, I'm kind of glad she didn't hang up. Next minute, I see, I felt a woman's hand on my leg, and I could feel it going into my skin. And it felt really weird, and I was like, oh God. And I looked to the side, and the spirit was sitting there, and it was going into my leg, and I could feel it going into my body. Once this started to happen, and I was like, holy shit, and I started yelling out all kind of names and swearing, and all of a sudden it flew forward up into the ceiling, disappeared, and all of a sudden the sofa was flying forward with me on it. I had dropped the phone and I picked it up. I was like, oh, you better come and get me. She came around to pick me up, and she went, and I guess on her way she picked up her cousin, and he came in there, and the whole house just felt so, the energy was negative. It's just like she wanted me gone. And I went upstairs to grab some clothes to leave, and she was standing there on the stairs just watching me as I was leaving. And we get in the car, and as we were leaving, she pulls back the curtains and watching us. All I could see is the curtain move back. but I could actually see her standing there watching us leave. To cut a long story short, I end up talking to a psychic friend of mine, and she channeled her through me, and a woman's voice came through my voice, asking, "Where are my children?" So we started to do some investigation on the house, and we come to find out that if you look in the beginning of this story, the articles, a woman was burned in the house with her 3 children, where her 3 children died in the house, and she died a day after they were buried. By her husband. I had went back to explain to the lady I was living with that the spirit had nothing to do, like it was kind of protecting her and her children because she didn't want any men in the house. From that point on, I kind of learned that you don't take things for granted. Spirits can harm you, so you better be careful when you're channeling them in a house that's being haunted by them. You just have to be very careful. I hope you enjoyed my new video that I was sharing with you my experiences. None of these were made up at all true. I'm not here to debate whether you believe or not. I'm just sharing my experiences. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Blessed be you.
Set you free. God is blessed, so mote it be.